Hello everyone, Pierce Nation here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today what we're going to be discussing is the deck we have on screen, which is the Labrynth Deck. This is the complete list. Everything you need to know. On the side deck in there, it does have Rivalry of Warlords and a pot of extras in it. But we're just going to go without the side deck because it's not really important to this point. What is most important for players to understand is the main deck. So, the main deck, your once per turn traps need to be at 2, no more, no less, because you do want to be able to see them. Tears of the Overroot is another card that does fall into that category. And of course I've got evenly at 2 in here, which is fine. So, most importantly, question I get asked is about Stovey Torby and Chandragalar. Now, why are these cards at 1? These cards can be at 2. 2 is the most optimal, but with your Lady of Labrynth being at 2 or 3, no more, no less, at either 1 or 2. I say 1 because it's kind of bricky, but you know, with these being at 3, you do want to see the traps more than you want to see these guys to begin with, because they can actually pop off a combo, or if you get these, it'll work the same. So, you can get these in any good day. You can also add these off of Arena effect. And you could probably be questioning why I've got Irene in the deck at 2. Irene is actually a very good extender from going into the Tellarknight Malleus, which was a recently banned card, and then you can make Constellar Diamond very easy off of this going main phase 2. So you can lock them into Constellar Diamond, but before you get to Constellar Diamond, you say, well, how does this deck really match up in the competitive scene with the other decks that are currently out? Well, it does run Different Dimension Ground, which will banish any card sent to graveyard. It runs Gozen Match, which you can only control one attribute of a monster. It does run D-Barrier, Ice Dragon's Prison, Dogmatic of Punishment. Let's see. Scroll this down. Compulse, Archfiend's God's Glitch, Tears of the Overroot, and Evenly Matched. Now, is this the full complete list? Is this as strong as Labrynth is going to get? Hell no. Labrynth still has support to come out. There are 2 major traps. One of them I actually cannot show you, but I will explain to you what it does. This is the one that I can explain. So, a big welcome is going to be the main card that we're going to be using, and you'll probably see these Different Dimension Grounds just go out the way. So, more specifically, what this does is put someone level monster from hand, deck, or graveyard, which means we'll be able to extend with this. Then return one monster you control out of the hand. Normally, you return this when you special summon, so you can then special summon this from your hand. Okay, it's very, very easy. It says you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 fiend monster you control, or 1 level 8 or higher fiend monster. You can target, or if you target 1 level 8 or higher fiend monster, which you're gonna target lovely, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, instead return it to the hand, which is a targeting mechanism, but it's very good for getting rid of shit. So with that one, there is that, and I want to see if they have it on here. They do! Weight measuring. This is the card I'm waiting to come out. So, if you are not aware of this card, anything of it, this card is going to break the fucking deck like crazy. Like, absolute crazy. When this card comes out, I will have to cut Irene, and probably Stovey and Chandragalar. Possibly Q-Clock. Possibly, to get these cards in there. Because, you want to see weight measuring a lot. Because if your opponent controls at least 2 more monsters than you do, they must send monsters they control to the graveyard, so they only control 1. Kinda nuts. What this card enables is loaded board, you flip it, you can shred that board apart. So if I start off with nothing and you flip this, I can only control 1 monster. That's how this card works. So if you have 1, your opponent can only control 2. That's how this card's gonna work. So they'll always control 1 more than you do, but with weight measuring, you can send them to the graveyard, so no effects really go off. The only how things would happen would be like a Guido and those. Those don't work that way. They have to go from hand or deck to graveyard, which this card does avoid. How lovely. So the main question that is asked with the build now it currently is, and it is running a card that is older, that does do a lot of damage. And that card is the End of Anubis. If you've never seen this card, I use this card because you can special summon it off of the Sisters and the Labrynth. If you don't know the Sisters, it is Irene and Arena. Very simple. Those are the Sisters. When I say Sisters, those are the ones I'm applying to. So when you summon the Sisters, they have the ability that if a card is removed from the field due to a trap effect, you can special summon a fiend monster, draw a card, special summon a fiend monster, or set a spell or trap, which you can set them on your opponent's turn, which is nice. But however, with End of Anubis, you can special summon him out because he is a fiend, and when you do, while this card is face up, all effects of spell, trap, and monster effects that target a card in a graveyard or that activate in a graveyard are negated. Which means there's no Bestials, there's no Ishizu, there's no Tearlaments. It's gonna shut down half the fucking meta because, well, more than half, you just can't play. Like, even it hits my deck too, because it's not opponent, it's all effects. So like when I use this, I'm basically locked in until Anubis gets removed. And there's not a lot of people maining like Regeki or just removal in general. So Anubis is really hard to get around. Not only that, but by that time I'll probably have a loaded board with all these Labrynths on there, and by the time you do get to remove this, I can link climb to access code. Very simple, normal, just link someone IP, very simple, or you can go Unchained Abomination, whichever way you want to go about it. And I also got Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf's okay, I don't really like to use it. You get IP here, Unicorn, Phoenix. I mean, we have a lot of options for this deck. Yeah, we do use him because sometimes we need those extra 2 cards. We don't really care to skip a next draw phase because there won't be a next draw phase. And of course, we're in Abyss Dweller. And these are your Dogmatica punishment targets. So, use them however the fuck you want. I like to use this against like sprites and stuff because they really don't have many that are 1500 or more. So yeah, I mean, he's very, very good. I do like him. So how this deck really matches up against other decks is this deck is more superior. And thanks to the new ban list, with us being able to pop into Constellar Diamond now, makes it really easy for us to win. So, well, where's this deck at right now? Right now, honest to God, it is about a tier 2. about a tier 2. You say, well, how is it a tier 2 if it can take down tiers so easily? This is a different type of deck, okay? Right now, it's tier 2. No one has this deck list. No one. I really want to cut down the different dimension grounds. But for now, we'll leave them in because they're very effective. Now, more specifically, this deck can take down tier very easily, and it could do it before the ban list as well. It didn't need Castellar Diamond in order to do that, okay? Because all these cards were available beforehand. No one really knows about End of Anubis. It is an old card. It's very hard to understand because of its text. If you read it, it says that designates a card in the graveyard right here. Oh, that targets a card. No, I have the actual text of the card, and it says designate. I thought that was it. Hang on a minute, I'll grab the card and see if I can show it to y'all. All right, I've got the Labrynth deck. Let me grab it out real quick. Labrynth. I'm missing one card. So when it comes in, I will do the deck profile. I've got every other card. Every other card you see on screen, I've got them all except for one. Let's see here. End of Anubis, where are you at? Fuck are you, buddy? There you are. So, the End of Anubis is a very expensive card. I don't know if you've ever tried to buy it recently or you even know of its existence. It's a very expensive card. And so right there. That is the actual wording of the card. See if I can put that right there. So what this card says, let me get the one on screen first, and I'll show it to you because it's kind of cool. Okay, so yours says, while this card is faced upon the field, blah blah blah. Yeah, because yours says target. Mine, it is a limited edition TLMNSE4 version of the card. Down. It says, as long as this card remains face up on the field, all effects of spell, trap, and monster cards that designate a card in the graveyard or that activate in the graveyard are negated. So, that's what my version says. Yes, I do. I want to make sure I got all three of them because I got one here. I need three of them. This deck has to run a certain way in order for it to win. I got two. I got three. Okay, good. I was making sure I had all my pulse evacuation devices in there. Because, again, you have to have all the cards that I have on here in order to win and see very superior results. If I do say so myself. Because you want to not only will this deck win against a lot of meta decks, but it will win against them all. Okay. So, with the current build, this deck will beat all meta decks. Yeah, you heard that correctly. All meta decks will lose to this. Doesn't matter what you pull out. I say, well, how's that? It's a trap deck. Trap decks can't be that good. Yes, they can. This is one of them. This is one of them that can play Gozen or Rivalry, or it can play them both. It can also play, there can only be one, and you still lose. Because it can do all three. It's like it's what Elwodge always wanted to be, but couldn't be. Because this deck runs Dimensional Barrier, Gozen Match, DD, It runs all these normal traps, and they do so much shit because the fiend monsters are so damn strong. Not only that, but if you go match up against Flu, throw in Chaos Hunter. It's another fiend, and you can't banish shit, so you just lose. Plus, it's got 2,500. You're not gonna beat over it, and all these traps are gonna keep disrupting you, and you can't play. You might get it like on the flip side like one time, but that's about it. Like, Labrynth is ridiculous. I've never seen a deck like this in my life, which made me want to build it because I was like, there has to be something to this deck. Has got to be. I normally don't stick this much money, time, and effort into a deck unless if I think it's really going to be good. And when Irena, which is this one right here, is going for about 18 bucks a copy, which was going 13 when I bought her. And these, I had to rebuy them because I got janked by some dude at TCG. I'd paid $34 for two, but instead I ended up paying $64 for two. Like, I don't know if you know how expensive this deck is. It's not cheap. Then you have access code. Unchained's not really that much. Sprite Elf's a lot. See what other one was expensive. There's another one. It's probably IP. I think IP was a little expensive. It's not too bad. So yeah, so your field spells, I mean, fuck, I don't know what they go for now. They go for a lot, I know that. So anyway, mute point. The deck's really good, and now I'm gonna get to the variation of where this deck sits in the meta currently. And honest to God, truth, where it sits is gonna sit at a tier 2. The reason it sits at a tier 2 is this deck has not hit the scene yet. You say, well, there have been Labrynth players. How many competitive YCS Labrynth players have you seen? None. There have been none. There's been not one goddamn good Labrynth player. And the reason that there's not is, one, they don't have deck building skills. Two, they're going off everybody else's list. I don't do that. I see what people are playing and what they're recommending. But I also know that with Irene in the deck, you can make Constellar Diamond turn 2, and you can make Abyss Dweller turn 1. So with that being said, I'm gonna lean towards my method, which is control, because you need to control. And if you can control the graveyard, and you can control what people are doing on turn 1, they're not gonna play. Promise you that. And with the trap game being the way it is, you say, well, if you get Harpy Feathers Duster, that's pretty much it. No, it's not, because when they do, all of your traps become active. You might as well just activate them all, because they're all going to go anyway. So, that's a big thing with the Labrynth deck, is they're normal traps. No one really cares. When you activate normal traps, like Lady, the Silver Castle, everything goes haywire. She'll activate and set another trap, and it will, the chain will go after Harpy Feather Duster. Kind of nuts. So with that being said, I'm not really scared of Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, none of that. Because we do run evenly matched in this deck, and we can search evenly matched in this deck, or any of the traps you see except for Goza Match. Goza Match is the only trap in this deck we cannot search, which is fine. We don't have to search Goza Match. And if you don't want to play Goza Match, you can play Rivalry of the Warlords. I see right now more, I see more damage with Goza Match right now with this deck than I do Rivalry. Because yes, rivalry makes it where I have to play the same the same type of monster like fiends, but with Goza match, I can still make access code, no problem. The only thing is like if I go to make like access code or anything like that, I got Goza match on with any of my Labrynths, I can't make number 60. See what I'm saying? Like it conflicts, but it's just enough where you can wheeze through it. So, you know, that's a big thing. And like I said, the weight measuring and the big welcome, those are going to be very good traps when they come out. You can actually, if you don't want to run the red rain, you could probably run bottomless trap hole in this. I used to use bottomless trap hole in it. In fact, it's right in front of my face. Bottomless trap hole. So, you could run cards like that. What other cards? Deck Devastation Virus, you can run that too. So I had a whole list for it, and I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling it. It just didn't have a good enough edge. But with that is basically what I have for the deck. If you have any questions on this deck, how to beat any matchup, you let me know. Number one, what you have to learn as a player, and a competitive player at that, is you have to really get your experience with facing these decks and find their choke points. Second of all, you have to master your deck completely. You have to know every single play when it is presented to you. And for me, when I go play this Labrynth deck, I already know every single play to make. I just have to learn the choking points. Elements, I've got it. It's not hard. Just take away the graveyard. It's not that hard. Now, if that's the case, what do you do? Okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna get rid of the Telement monsters, like no problem. Like the fusion monsters, once they're banished, they're gone. They're only playing one of them, so I don't really care about them. And like what's his name, Rhino Heart or Kaleido Heart. You need to get rid of him as soon as he hits the field. As soon as he's summoned, you need to flip a trap. You need to go ahead and get rid of him. And you say, well, he was supposed to summon back. Not if you different dimension ground, because all the elements have a specific effect. So, like, you go down here to him. This card is sent to the graveyard by card effect. You can supposed to summon this card. This card is sent to graveyard by card effect. This fusion summon card is sent to graveyard by card effect. You can supposed to summon it. And then Kalos card is sent to graveyard by card effect. You can send top 5 cards to your graveyard. Doesn't really matter. So basically, you want to just pop these cards, get them out the way. Your Kalos is just going to help you extend because it's going to send the top 5, which is what it is. But they all have to be sent to graveyard. That's basically what I'm saying. So if you pop it and chain different dimension ground to whatever you're popping it with, different dimension ground will go through first. Then let's say like Dogmatic Punishment, you pop your Kalos, Rhino Heart. That's it. There's nothing else. They can use an effect, send one back to hand, but I don't know why the fuck you do that. So in that, you know, in these instances when you do pop off the effects like this, that's just it. Like there's nothing there. There's no real way that the Telement monsters are going to do anything. So with that being said, that is how you take care of that. It's not hard. Normally with trap decks and control decks, you'll see a lot of negates in the deck, and Labrynth just doesn't negate. It just pops cards, and the traps are a little unfair because it really doesn't give you a chance to play. But with that being said, that is how you beat Telement. It's not really hard. Get off the graveyard. All you gotta do. That's what Constello Diamond does. If you've never read Constello Diamond, this is what it says. Neither player can send cards from deck to the graveyard. Any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand is banished instead. During the player's turn, when an opponent's dark monster activates its effect, you can detach one extra material from the card and negate the effect. All tournament monsters except for Kalos is dark. Kalos don't do much anyway. So, you know, Custodial Diamond, it's not once per turn with that negation effect. So somehow if you can add resources, I'm not going to do that because I only need 2 negates. If I have 2 negates, I'm going to win. It's that simple, cut and dry. Deck is so good with Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. Destroy card, send a Fiend, so you can send Anubis. Build spell, then activates. It's supposed to summon Anubis, and that's pretty much it. Like, the deck is very easy to pilot, very easy to play. You just have to know what you're doing, and you have to know when the cards are activating. You need to constantly be looking in your graveyard and just be like, okay, I know what's there. I know what's there. I know what's there. You have to know because your Welcome Labrynth will reset itself the turn that the next turn after it activates. If you remove a card due to a trap effect, it's going to activate. Clock's going to activate. Your Labrynth's going to activate on a non-Labrynth trap, which is going to happen a lot. Your Clock's going to activate. Your Strange Dragon Lord is going to activate. Your Stove is going to activate. Your Lady Labrynth's going to activate. Both the sisters are going to activate. That's like a chain link 9 or 10. Okay? If that makes any sense. That is going to be a lot to manage. And you're going to have to keep up with it. Because once you get these sisters out and they start drawing cards, eventually you're going to run into Stovey, Torby, and Clock. If you pull Clock with any major trap and your opponent's setting back row, I would just send Clock and activate that damn thing. Because these sisters will set them for you. And I don't know if you know this, but cards that just pop, like, you don't get a chance to set up your negates, like, and your continuous fill spell, because it'll just be popped and that's the end of it. Eventually, your cards will leave the field. Like, that just is what it is. But I'm gonna wrap up this video now. If you guys have any other questions on this deck, I will be doing the deck profile very soon. If you have any questions on this deck, let me know in the comments down below. I am Pierce Nation, and I will see you in the next video. Pierce Nation out.